When we talk about brain plasticity, I don't really think about it as growing new cells. The brain is capable of growing new brain cells, and there's some parts of the brain that are very active, like the hippocampus. But I think the real engine of brain plasticity is networks reconfiguring, that we have this redundancy that, okay, we've damaged this one network, but now we've got other networks that can take over for function. And it's shifting, it's our ability to sort of these therapies to shift into these other networks to take over functions. I've been studying the frontal lobes, my whole career, because for me that's really the seat of the essence of what makes us human. How do the frontal lobes act as the CEO of the brain? One of the things that the frontal lobes does is it's important for working memory. It holds information in mind, and when you think about it, this ability to hold information in mind is everything that we do.
Understanding what the frontal lobes are doing and how they're doing it is actually key to our understanding of just how to fix brain problems or manage behavior. So there's a lot of research going on now, and we're trying to understand both the command and control and the retention functions of the frontal lobe.
You're constantly holding information in mind. It's really kind of it's our superpower, right? If you measure someone's working memory capacity, how good their working memory is, it correlates very strongly with their reading comprehension, their academic achievements, and a lot of other cognitive abilities. So it's the building block. We're starting to actually learn how that actually works. The frontal lobes actually stores all of these rules and goals from very concrete to very abstract. So it has this way of there's some sort of goals that are very concrete, like, I'm thirsty, I want to get a glass of water, and then there's some goals that are very abstract, like getting tenure for a goal, getting tenure for a young faculty member. So I'm holding all of this information, right? I'm holding all these rules, but I'm holding them in a hierarchical way. What I mean by hierarchy, I'm holding them from abstract to concrete, and our brain is able to do that. And it turns out that really complex systems, they work more efficiently when we do it that way. We know that poor sleep, poor nutrition, stress, multitasking, these all take a hit. The frontal lobes take a hit from all of these things. So the simple things of just better sleep and don't multitask, which I learned in my brain game text challenge, and reducing stress. This is all going to improve frontal lobe function. That's one side of it. The other side of it is trying to develop interventions that are really to get at these mechanisms. How do we boost working memory?
Some things that are going on here at the Center for Brain Health that may actually improve frontal lobe command and control function or retention function. How about helping our circuits work better?
The cognitive therapies you have right here, the SMART training that's been developed by Sandy Chapman and colleagues is one of those therapies. Goal management training, which was developed by Ian Robertson, is another one of those therapies. These are therapies that are not just based on our intuition of how the brain works, they're based on these are the mechanisms of how the frontal lobes function. In the last 10 years, we've moved from thinking about areas as having one function and cognitive functions being very localized to being very distributed across networks. And so there's a real boon in network, what we call network neuroscience. And we all have very different networks, as you can imagine. And the way networks are organized, they're organized in a way in which they're organized into modules. And they're very much like an airline network or electrical grid network, where it's the same. There are these hubs in these networks, and some hubs are more important than others, right? In an airline network, DFW and Chicago are much more important than Austin and Milwaukee, for example, right, in terms of the overall flow. And so what we've learned is that it's targeting these hubs. Our goal is, in developing interventions, is how can we reconfigure networks that have been damaged, and it's entirely possible.
I've been working with Mark for almost 20 years. No one has inspired that many people. He has more publications. We brought him in very early on, and he said, this is something that's going to change humanity, the Brain Health Project. He said, I became a neurologist to really do this. I take care of a lot of sick brains, but why don't we do what the cardiologists do and take care of good brains to make them stronger? And so he's the person I call, Ghostbusters. He's my Ghostbuster.